Okay, for this journal, we're going to look at the strength of correlation between our sleep association and our Epworth scale. And to do that, we open our sleep.sav. And what we need to do is we need to look at, we're not going to use all this information, but we can go ahead and I thought about making a new file, but I thought, nah, let's go ahead and keep with what we have. So we're going to come in here and we need to make sure everything looks okay. So we're just using our ESS. Our ESS is on scale, so it's a ratio. And we're looking at our total SAS, and that's also on a scale. And then we are going to look at our lethargy, our tired, our sleepy, and all of those are on scale. So everything looks right. Now, first thing I need to do is I need to pick a test. So I'm going to use a correlation test to describe the strength and direction between the SAS and the Epworth scale. I need to check my two assumptions. So I need to see how close they are. So I've already done this. And the first thing I did was I made a histogram. And our histogram, remember, you go through graphs and then you go to chart builder and then you make your histogram. And we need to see how these line up. We need to make sure that does this look normal, like a normal curve? Yes. So we check our normality on our SAS, and then we look at our Epworth Sleepiness Scale or ESS, and does this look normal? Yes, this looks normal. So we assume through this data that everything is all the observations are independent because we didn't collect the data, but we are assuming. So we're assuming that they are. And some of the data has missing data, but we're going to be able to fix that. And I'll show you how to do that in our software. So back to this. We are here. So we've checked to see if there's normality. And yes, there is normality. Now we need to check for if it's linear. Well, we can see that the dots are not real close together. And so there's not a very tight correlation, because if the dots were together, then there would be a correlation. And I did this the same way I did my histogram. Is I went into graphs, and then chart builder, and I made this. So we can see that they all are, you've got a few outliers here, but everything is going up. So you have a positive slope and there is linearity. So now I need to check my correlation. So I'm going to go back to my data and I'm going to go to analyze and then correlate. And I'm going to choose my first one, bivariate. And I am going to reset it. Nothing's on there, but just in case. And I'm going to move over my SAS. So let's find my SAS. And remember, I could have made this easier on myself and deleted all the other stuff we're not using, but why make things easier when you could just search for them, right? So move over my SAS. And then I'm going to come over here and I'm going to move over my Epworth sleepiness scale. And when I do that, now I need to go to options. And I do want to see my means and standard deviation just because I want to see what those are, just to see my statistics. But I want to make sure I exclude cases pairwise. And what that means is if there are cases that don't have something to compare to, it's not going to be included in this. So I'm going to hit continue. And I'm going to press OK. Now, before I go out of this dialog box, notice that Pearson is always checked. And this is it's the first that's going to be checked. And we are using a Pearson coefficient. We're looking at that, and it is a two-tailed. So we're going to press OK. And when we get this, we get our correlation. Now up top, we see our mean, our standard deviation, and then our number tested. When we come down here, this is what we're looking for. We're looking at our Pearson correlation, and it's got 2 asterisks here, and the software tells us that the 2 asterisks means there is significant at the 0.01 level in a two-tailed test. So we have our 0.292, and then our significance is less than 0.001. So what are we going to do with that? We need to look at our chart, our Cohen chart, and our Cohen chart in our book tells us that the relationship, size of correlation is 0.292, and the relationship is small to medium. Now we need to calculate the coefficient of the correlation. So what we're going to do, I'm going to go ahead and open up my calculator if I can find it over here. Where is my calculator? Here's my calculator. So I'm going to take this, I'm going to take the R2. So I'm going to take the R, which is the 0.292. So 0.292, and I'm going to multiply it by itself to 0.292, and I get 0.0853. I'm going to multiply that by 100, and what I get is 8.53 of a variance. So what that tells us is we don't have much of a variance, much overlap. So that's good. And a significance level is if it is less than 0.001. So that's what I'm looking at right here, our significance level. And it's a large sample size because our sample size is 251. So we can see here that the sleep and association sensation scale and the Epworth scale, that they match. Come here and here and here and here. So I'm sorry, my sample size is 237. So that's what we're looking at. We're looking at a sample size. So that's, we can tell that there is an association. It is a small association. Now we need to use our syntax to assess the correlation between the Epworth sleep scale and each one of them that make up the SAS. So I'm going to go up here. I'm going to go to analyze. So I'm looking at them individually. I'm not looking at the whole SAS and the whole ESS. I'm looking at the individual SAS elements. So I'm going to come up here, go up to analyze. I'm going to go to correlate again, and I'm going to go to bivariate. I'm going to reset this. Now, what I am going to do is I'm going to go down to my SAS, but remember, I'm not going to do my entire, I'm going to do them separately. So I'm going to come over here, highlight it down, click that over. Now I've got all my SAS, all the elements that make up that total. And I need to come back up here and I'm going to put my Epworth in here. I'm going to show you why in a minute. If I can find my Epworth. Here it is. I'm going to put that below. And then I am going to click on paste. And what this does is this sets up, this shows us our variables. So I'm going to put, I need to put with, because remember we're comparing our ESS with the individual. So I'm going to type in the word with in all caps. And then I'm going to highlight all of this and I'm going to hit run. And what that does, when I hit run, it will show us our correlation between the SAS, the individual SAS, and the ESSS. Now here you've got correlation significant again, and you can see that here. And we can see our highest number is the SAS tired, which is right at medium. It could go to medium. And most of this still matches with this up here to where it's in the small to medium range. So we can tell that our highest level is tired and our lowest level is energy. What does that mean? That means that there is significance and it doesn't change. So there is significance between the two, but it is a small significance between the two. And that is this journal.